Evangelism to me means many things, and one of the most important ones is just being in the community, walking around, going out where people are, wherever that may be, in the alleyways, under bridges, sidewalks, any place where people might be. And there was one such day like this up in Mill City, Oregon, where it was a cold day, probably 37 degrees, raining. And my head elder and I were going down through this alleyway by a place called Gleaners. It's a food distribution for those that can't afford much. And we encountered whom I later learned was Don Colvin.
I joined the service 3 months before I turned 17. I went to Vietnam, did 2 tours. I was a scout sniper. When I met Dale, I thought that I probably wasn't going to get saved because of being a sniper. I was mostly wishing that I wasn't no longer alive.
So we approached Don, introduced ourselves, began to talk to him, and asked him if he would be interested in living in that RV. Don struggles from a significant level of PTSD. And so my first communication with him once he had moved out to the property, bought Don a Bible. And I didn't know at that time that he wasn't able to read because he was dyslexic. And so I'd follow up on him and say, hey, what did you read? What did you learn? Do you have any questions? And finally he came to me and he said, you know, I can't read. And so I said, let's make a deal. I don't want you to believe anything that I tell you based upon my interpretation of the Bible. So if you have questions about God, if you have questions about salvation and all those kinds of things, I want you to ask the question, not of me, but of God. Ask God the question. And when you feel like God has given you the answer, then come to me and tell me what God told you, and I'll go to the Bible and we'll check it out and we'll see if the two are the same.
For the first time in my life, when I walked into that church up there, the guy up there, whatever you called him, didn't go, sinner, you're lost, you're this, you're... The first words out of Dale's mouth when I first seen him up there was, hi. Believed in God, had talked to him, asked him questions, didn't know if the answers I were getting were the right ones. Him and I talked. I asked Dale, I said, these are some of the things I've asked God, and this is what he answered. And Dale said, yeah, that's true.
So I was able to baptize Don. It was an amazing experience. And it wasn't too long after that that I was also able to perform his wedding.
I've learned more about God in the last 4 years than I probably have most of my life, because I have somebody to bounce it off from and can tell me whether I'm on the right track or not. In my spare time, I pick up things, fix them if they need fixing, and then find people who need stuff that can't afford it. And I spend time with my wife watching TV and talking about God, mostly.
So the best place for evangelism in your community just might be under a bridge.